Hey, garden friends. Currently looking up at the sky, pine trees, a dead oak tree that just died this summer, from my new hammock. Got it last weekend for my birthday. Kind of the perfect thing for the backyard. That's something I've been wanting for a long time, is a hammock in the backyard. Just sit and enjoy and listen to the cicadas and the wind blowing and just to be. Which is something that I think we all need this summer, or really, probably any time, just to be. So I have a few things to talk about today. It's been 2 weeks since the last time I put out an episode. I guess the first one I will talk about is dumb gardener error. So I've been talking about pumpkins out in the garden, and we did plant pumpkins. I'll start with that. My son planted pumpkin seeds from a rotting pumpkin that fell apart from his treehouse. So we started those, and he grew them. They didn't fruit or flower, but we grew them for a little while. But I also was growing pumpkins in the garden. And these came from the compost pile. So this whole time I've been growing these pumpkins, and I was thinking, well, they are growing a little bit weird. They're kind of oblong instead of round. But I don't know, I just figured not every pumpkin's going to be round. I don't know what I was thinking. And the vine thrived for a while, and it tried to have a couple more fruits, and they didn't get pollinated or whatever. And finally the squash vine borers came in, and the vine tried to live, and it just didn't live. So the vine died. I left the pumpkin on just as long as it could possibly last, and finally one morning I woke up, I saw the pumpkin had fallen onto the ground. So I went out to go get it and make sure it hadn't been busted up. And as soon as I picked up this pumpkin, I realized it was a spaghetti squash. And I don't know why I did not see this as it was hanging on the vine. In my head, there was no possible way I could be growing a spaghetti squash because I didn't plant spaghetti squash seeds. We had put several pumpkins in our compost bin. But as I was holding this spaghetti squash, I realized that I'd completely forgotten. Last fall, I'd gone to the farmer's market in town and bought a spaghetti squash. And it actually ended up being way overripe when we cooked it and totally bitter. And later I realized, I looked it up because I was like, what is wrong with this spaghetti squash? It's a thing, so don't eat overripe spaghetti squash. Or if they start sprouting, if you get seeds that start sprouting in your spaghetti squash, don't eat it. It's not a good thing to eat. Needless to say, we barely finished that dinner because it was that bad. But I didn't really know. But of course, whatever seeds I had put out, that I had scooped out of that spaghetti squash, they went in the compost. Honestly, didn't think anything of it at all. I completely erased from my memory that we had grown that spaghetti squash until I held it in my hand and go, oh yeah, that's right. This isn't a pumpkin, it's a spaghetti squash. And I posted this to my personal Instagram several times on my stories, and I don't know why anybody didn't correct me. I don't know if they were just like, okay, yeah, that's just a weird pumpkin. No, not a weird pumpkin. That would be dumb gardener thinking. But I kind of got a kick out of it. Now I have a spaghetti squash that I'm not going to let get overripe. Try to eat it in the next few weeks and enjoy that random pumpkin spaghetti squash. So the second thing I want to talk about is my son's burgeoning seed collection obsession. I don't know if it's that quite an obsession. It's kind of bordering on it though. And it's really something that just kind of started this last month and a half. So, as a kid, you kind of go through phases of being interested in gardening or playing in the dirt, I guess. And that's kind of been my son's phase. Like, there's been times where he's just been so not interested in doing anything nature. Well, not, I wouldn't say anything nature, anything like gardening remotely anything like that, right? And, but, since I've been home with him since March, there's been a lot of time in the yard, a lot of time in the garden. He's always enjoyed eating fennel and dill. I don't have any dill right now, but he enjoys eating fennel from the garden. And we have this little spot in one of our raised beds that he's always been able to dig in. There's not a lot of dirt in it right now because he's dug it out and dug holes, and that's mostly what he does, is dig and put earthworms and put a bunch of water in it. When he was a little bit smaller, he would actually just fill it up with water and sit in it and make it look a mud puddle pile, which was fine as long as he went to the bath right after. But yeah, he was never so much interested. I mean, he would help us grow. Like, if we were going to plant beans or whatever, he would help us sow seeds out there. But it's been in the last few weeks/months that he's been like, I'm going to collect seeds. And, I mean, these are seeds like grass seeds, weed seeds, whatever he finds. I think it's part of his, I see mom and dad doing that. If we're out for a hike, we're like, oh, this is a cool flower. And nab, this little seed pod or something. That maybe he's just like seeing what we do and get interested, but he's also been interested in planting them on the potting bench. So he has, gosh, a bunch of empty pots at the moment. Well, not empty. They have soil in them. Seeds are in some of them. Whether they germinate or not is a different story. But I've been getting a kick of how much he has been interested in just collecting seeds and turning into a little seed collector. And this evening we actually went and collected some Sesbania rattle pod plant, just a little shrubby thing growing on the side of the road. We had passed it by the other day, and he collected one pod. I think it actually is in the pockets of his shorts in the laundry. I'm going to fish that out. But he wanted to collect a few more tonight. So we went back and collected some more, and I'm sure he's going to start some. And with the grass seeds, I'm like, just don't sprinkle them in the flower beds, please. So I may be having to find a place for him to put his garden seeds here eventually. I hope. We'll see how interested he is in gardening in the next few years. If he becomes interested in gardening, I'm wanting to have his own little space. Maybe we'll find a spot he can dedicate in a flower garden to growing some plants. Or we've always talked about him having his own bed in the edible garden, or a section of a bed or something, if he really wanted to grow something. So we may do that until he gets bigger and wants to grow something. I don't know. We'll see what this is going to evolve to. I'm kind of getting a kick out of it just because he's so interested in it. The stuff on the potting bench, he mostly enjoys watering, and probably too much watering, which we've had to discuss. You could overwater things, and we'll see. It's kind of a fun little thing. As for everything else, it's hot here in Texas. The humidity is ramped back up. Last weekend, it was super humid on one day. Actually, it was my birthday, and it was really hard to want to move outside. And then Sunday, the humidity dropped. I don't know if the pressure moved or whatever. The weather pattern changed. So it was just a little bit drier and less humid. It was still blazing hot, but we were able to, it felt a lot better to move that day. But that's what we're dealing with here is humidity, and just trying to, I don't know, I'm already kind of thinking about fall seeds. I need to go through my seeds and see what I have and place a seed order. Busy Botanical Interests, as of this point, had I think 40% off sale through maybe the 19th. I need to go back and look and see how long that was going to last. And I don't know, find some seeds to order see what I've got. I've already started re-sowing cowpeas because the cowpeas have kind of petered out. It's gotten hot. The vines aren't dying back, but well, they're losing leaves, but they're not dead. They are starting to put some new leaves on as well at the bottom, so I'm hoping they re-leaf back out. I did plant some new seeds because I'm hoping to get a second crop of cowpeas kind of in the fall. We've been enjoying eating those this summer. I have not had enough to put away, but we've had a couple meals of them. They've been great. And I've been putting away lots of green beans, and I would like to. The bean vines look good right now. Usually in August, I re-sow beans for a September-October harvest, and I will see what these beans look like in August. I may re-sow. If they look good, I may keep it going. But so I'm looking at that. Cucumbers are still hanging in there. Oh yeah, this is the first I've done. Cucumbers. I have never saved cucumber seed before. And it's really easy to do because all you gotta do is miss a cucumber for a few days and they're ginormous, and then don't harvest them. Let them sit there on the vine and turn that orangish yellow. And as soon as they're turned that kind of color and they kind of get a little soft, and pull them off. And so yeah, my son and I did that. We cut those in half, and he, of course, wanted to save his own seed, so he saved his own seed, and it was super easy to do. So hey, save your cucumber seeds. It's just, I don't know why I've never saved cucumber seeds before. It's just something we haven't really thought about doing, but save those. I have some cowpeas saved. I'll probably save some beans again once they are through here in a few months. And tomatoes, I did cut a lot of tomatoes back. I probably need to make another pass through here soon in hopes of seeing if I can get some of the plants to put on new growth for fall. Some of the plants that took longer to get going in the spring, that are kind of in the shadier spot of the garden, actually still look pretty good and have some fruit on them. So I am hoping to get a little bit of fruit from those. Those are the fruit's from before the nighttime temperatures stayed above 70. Nighttime temperatures have been, from what I've seen on Space City Weather, is low to mid 80s. And so that is not really good for tomato flowering at all. So that's good. And by good, I mean that stinks. But it is what it is. It's July in Texas. So tomatoes are winding down. And yeah, I just got to start thinking about what we're going to start planting around for late August and September for fall crops, and go from there. And I can't believe, it's already mid-July. I can't believe things heading towards fall. I think everybody feels the same. Spring creaked by, and July, here we are, July. And yet, I don't know, it's going so fast and going so slow, and of course, with so much uncertainty and trying to settle into whatever routine that this is going to be for the next year, 2 years. It's just something we're dealing with. And of course, we're about to deal with sending my son to kindergarten, which is going to be probably online for us. And figuring all of that out, but enjoying nature as much as we can. I do have a few updates. Let's see. For hiking, we went back out to the Texas pipevine, Ristolochia reticulata. I talked about that in a few episodes back. We went back out to see if it had seeds, and it did. So we found one plant that had seed pods. And a few of the others we decided that we were probably too late to see. So that was kind of a bummer. And then we went back out to try to look at the red ring milkweed at the same area, and it was also long gone. I think we were too late for that as well. I think I thought that we would still see stalks with seed pods, but that was long gone. So we were probably a month late on that, which means next year I'm trying to go out in June to to check all of that stuff out again. It's really hard to get a grasp on timing on some of these plants that are wild because, it goes fast. It goes fast for some of the stuff. And we haven't done a whole lot of hiking recently. We did that one last weekend, but we've kind of pulled back with how bad things are here in Texas. Just don't want to open ourselves up to too much issues, which is kind of crazy because I just busted myself up on my bicycle a couple of days ago. So it had me rethinking a lot of things, just how quickly an accident can happen, whether we're gardening or riding our bikes or out hiking. So just want to let everybody know to be careful and stay safe. Hope everyone's having a great summer so far. And happy gardening.